I call Scott Simpson.
Mr Chairman, thank you very much. It's a pleasure and a delight as Chair of the Local Government Committee to take a call in the committee stages of the Arts Centre of Christchurch Trust Bill. Just before I start my speech, I do want to thank members from across the House for their contribution at Select Committee in a very thoughtful, meaningful and collaborative way that we were able to negotiate our way through this piece of legislation. The committee made a number of recommended changes to the bill as originally introduced, and they, I think, have undoubtedly gone to make this a better bill with a better outcome, not only for the Arts Centre buildings themselves, but for the trust that is charged with governing the heritage and the ongoing protection of this remarkable set of buildings that are so important to the people of Canterbury and Christchurch. This area, known as the Arts Centre, Sir, the committee was privileged to actually go and visit during our submission stages, and I think that was very helpful in coming to help members who are not Cantabrians understand the full meaning and significance of the collection of buildings to the people of Canterbury. The Minister, in her comments and as sponsor of the bill, made the point that this set of buildings actually goes quite a long way to represent the tangible rebuild of Christchurch far beyond the precinct that is just the Arts Centre. In a way, it's a sort of a beacon of hope and inspiration for the rest of the rebuild of Canterbury and Christchurch City. So I think that this bill that will ultimately mean that the governance structure of the Arts Centre organisation is in good stead for the future will be very welcomed by the people of Canterbury. Sir, as we went through the bill, one of the issues that came up was the whole question of the stone buildings, and I think those of us that don't come from Canterbury, who maybe have been visitors to the area before, we wanted to put into the bill, we wanted to put into the legislation a reflection that the stone buildings were deeply significant and meaningful to the whole structure of this bill. But notwithstanding that, there were actually some buildings in the complex that are not stone. And Megan Woods has mentioned repeatedly the Dux Deluxe, and I don't have any recollection of the Dux Deluxe, but there you go. That's it. Well, many people, the Honourable Amy Adams is telling me, don't have recollections of the Dux Deluxe after a good night. But I'm wondering that if the sponsoring member might take a further call later in this debate, I'm keen to know a little bit more about that whole area of the stone versus the non-stone part of the building. One of the suggestions that the committee made was that Clause 6 of the bill should be amended, and that in addition a new Clause 12 that would enable the Trust Board to amend its constitution should be included. And I think that on balance that was something that the committee thought was sensible, it was practical, and it made probably the legislation better for having been included. We recommended that in addition to the requirement for the Board to register the Trust's constitution and any subsequent amendments in accordance with the Charitable Trusts Act, that in the same way that the trust deeds would be also governed by this new piece of legislation. And I think that too, sir, was a welcome and sensible addition to the original bill as it was introduced to the House. The amendment to Clause 6 of the bill will remove the ability of the Governor-General to, by order in Council, amend Schedule 2 of the bill. Now, on the surface, the members might be thinking, well, why would you want to do that? Why would that be in any way advantageous? Well, the simple matter, sir, is that this change will avoid the prospect of any subsequent secondary legislation amending the provisions of this bill. And I think that, again, is an important piece of ring fencing, if you like, just to ensure that the future governance of the Arts Centre Trust is protected in a way that ensures that it goes on for a very long time in the future. Sir, Mr Chair.
Scott Simpson.
Mr Chair, there were, thank you, a number of other changes that the committee made, and I would like to just draw the attention of the House and committee to them. One was that we wanted to amend Clause 5C of Schedule 2 to require that the Trust Board make the conservation plan for the Arts Centre available at their annual general meetings. Now, this was a matter that received significant interest and debate around the committee table, and indeed there were a number of submitters who made the point as well that actually a heritage complex such as this needed to have a conservation plan that was available for public scrutiny, for public input, public consultation, and that it should be a living plan. It should be something that wasn't just a plan that was presented once and then not reviewed, looked at or changed at any time in the future, that it needed to be a document that was something that would take into account all the best aspects of the complex working into the future. So this change will enable the Trust Board to engage with their key stakeholders, of whom there are many, about the work that is currently being done on the complex, and also about what the future shape and style and nature of the Arts Centre will be, not just in the next couple of years, but in the next 10, 20, 30, 40 or however many years ahead. So the whole intention of that change was to effectively future-proof the conservation aspect and management of the Arts Centre. During the Canterbury earthquake, sir, all but, I think from memory, there were 23 buildings as part of the Arts Centre, and I think all but one were significantly and severely damaged as a result of the earthquakes. So the work that is being done now in terms of the heritage rebuild, we were told as a committee, is if not the largest heritage reconstruction going on in the world at the moment anywhere, it's certainly right up there. Something like $270 million is being spent on the rebuild, and there are craftsmen, master stonemasons and craftsmen from all over the world who are taking part in this very important and historic rebuild of the Arts Centre. But the main purpose of this legislation was to provide a heritage future-proofing for the Arts Centre, which means so much to the people of Canterbury and Christchurch. And I absolutely commend the local member, Nikki Wagner, for sponsoring this bill and bringing it to the House in the form of a local bill. It's exactly the appropriate format for it, but I would like if the member can at some stage address some questions or give us some more information about the nature of the stone buildings, why the aspect of stone is so important to the heritage of the Arts Centre in Christchurch and to Canterbury people. I think that about sums up the contribution that I want to make, Mr Chair, but there were many good submissions received. It was an absolute pleasure to visit Christchurch and then to visit the Arts Centre as part of our work on Select Committee, and it was a pleasure also to see the dedicated nature of the craftsmen, of the board who are doing such good work, to see the work of the Chair, Jen Crawford. She's leading a very good governance team, and the CEO, Adrian Lovett, is completely committed and charged and passionate about the work that is being done. I'm completely confident that this piece of legislation, when it eventually passes its way through this House, will secure the long-term heritage future of the Arts Centre in a way that could not have occurred without a re-look and a rehash of the governance structure of this very important body. I absolutely commend this to the committee of the House as a whole, and I'm looking forward to the contribution that other members will be no doubt wanting to make as we move this important and significant piece of Canterbury legislation through the Parliament and through the committee stages of the House. Thank you, Mr Chair.